Hey y'all, it's your girl Gemini Jazz with House of Chiron, and we are back with another episode of Galactic Gossip. Welcome in and welcome back to my channel. If you are new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you will not miss a beat. You will not miss anything that I upload, any promotion, any news or broadcast that I put out. You will have all access and you will receive the notifications for that. All right, so if you are returning to my channel, welcome back again. I hope that the month of August treated you well, and with all the crazy transits and the intense vibes that, we are all here in sane mind and body, and we are looking forward to what September is going to bring us. All right, so before we dive into this month's energy, just get these announcements out the way really quickly. The Celestial City is still open for membership. So if you are looking for a community where you connect on astrology and spiritual growth, also you want to receive Reiki, and you want to kind of get some readings in for the month ahead, then the Celestial City is your place to be. We do all of that and then some on a monthly basis for $33 per month. Okay. Also, there are discounts to all of the services and products that House of Chiron offers when you are a member of the Celestial City. So, speaking of our products, we have the Chiron candles that are stocked. So, go ahead and get your orders in for that as well. And yeah, I will be releasing the readings for the remainder of the year. So the yearly readings that were once, I think they start off at like $20 for the whole year. I can't remember how much I was charging for them, but now I had marked them like to half off, and so now they are going to just be released for the last 4 months, 4 or 5 months of the year. So look for that to upload to the YouTube channel and whatnot. All right. And I think that is all that I have at this time as far as the announcements. So let's just dive right on into the energy for the month of September. So Galactic Gossip is now moved to a monthly forecast where I give all 12 signs a general reading based on whole sign is the system that I'll be using, and it's just traditional, traditional and Western astrology. So that is the system. That is how I go about reading, and it's going to be based on whole sign. All right. So September is coming in. It's bringing harvest season with it. And, we become aware that summer is almost over. The autumn equinox is almost here, and it's going to bring with it a sense of calm, especially because the temperatures get cooler, and not only the temperatures outside of us, right, in the environment, but also we get to cool down a little bit on the inside, right? So we can see everything that has culminated from planting seeds from the spring and moving into the summer, and now here we are in the fall, or knocking on fall's door more so. We can kind of see what has culminated up to this point, right? And so this is the indication that it's time to reap our harvest. So we are still in the thick of Virgo season, and at the especially at the beginning of September, but Virgo is less in its summer vibe and more so reserved in its fall expression of its Virgo energy, right? So Venus also is going to be moving into the sign of Virgo. So this is the practical side of love that ushers its head forward and, kind of help us to be more practical in the way we approach things. So Venus and Virgo, they like to do, especially if you have this placement in your chart, you like to do practical expressions of love. Like, let me, take care of this. Let me do the dishes for you. Let me go get your car maintenance. That's kind of how the Venus and Virgo expresses its love. All right. And so although we have Venus moving into Virgo, this is happening just before Pisces full moon happens towards the end of the month or whatever, or middle of the month. So we have a few, things that are coming up this month of September, but ultimately it's not going to be that bad because, Mercury is stationed in retrograde. So we might have to review and revise some things, but this Mercury retrograde is not going to be as intense as the others have been. And typically with Mercury retrogrades, we are so used to you know, knowing that like it's going to be some hiccups, or you might receive like some X's to come back from who knows where and when. And that still might be the case, but it's not going to be in that way. So you might reconnect with people that actually can help you align to, you know, where it is that you're going. So it might actually be in a beneficial way that you revisit some things from the past, right? So things could come back around, opportunities that we have missed could come back around, so that way we can take advantage of those moving forward, right? And also there's no harm in double checking your work either. So just embrace this Mercury retrograde season. Excuse me. So Libra season is coming up also. So the sun will shift into Libra this month, and it's going to be in search of harmony and balance, especially as, you know, this is also the time that marks the autumn equinox. So this is when, you know, the sun moves from one side of the equator to the next, and we will be celebrating equal parts of day and night. Okay. And so we're going to be guided to find that balance, just like how we have equal parts of day and night. We need to have equal parts in all aspects of our lives. And so we're going to be guided to review where there is any discord or any impartiality, I guess you can say, and also making sure that we're able to bring in balance in a practical way. Okay. All right. So before we dive into, you know, the whole entire month, I just want to kind of give you all a hello, because I haven't really reintroduced myself to all of my new you know, followers. So I am Jasmine Wilson, Gemini Jazz, owner of House of Chiron. So thank you all for being here, and I hope that this reading and all the readings that I provide are going to be beneficial to you all. I love to share what I learn, because I am going to always be a forever student, not only of astrology, but of all things. Okay. So now, moving forward, September, let's talk about the chakra focus. Okay, so this month we are going to be focusing on our heart and our crown chakras, and that is going to be conducive to the Pisces full moon, and also with that Virgo, Venus and Virgo energy. Excuse me. So the new moon is also in Libra, so that's also that Venus energy as well. And so that's, you know, tapping into that heart chakra. The crown chakra is coming from that Pisces energy, the Pisces full moon. And so being able to have a strong intuition, being able to see things clearly, being able to stay open to receive the many blessings that are coming towards us at this time, especially with Mercury in Libra opposing Jupiter, that's retrograde in Aries. So there is going to be a reintroduction of opportunities that have been missed. But we have to stay open to receive things in a way that we are not expecting for them to come, because keep in mind that Uranus is still retrograde and is going through Taurus still. Okay. Now, speaking of the chakras, so like I was saying, we have that new moon and we have the full moon. So this is going to help us find the harmony within by keeping that center chakra, right? The fourth chakra is the heart chakra, and that's the center chakra, right? So there are 3 chakras below it and 3 chakras above it. So that center chakra is going to help us with balance, right? And so this is where we can experience many physical symptoms. So the Sanskrit name for the heart chakra is Anahata. And so this means unstruck, unhurt, unbeaten. And so that's the kind of energy that we need to go into this season and this month with, that we are unhurt, we are unbeaten, that we are healing, that we are staying open and receptive. Okay. Now, if you have an imbalance or a blocked heart chakra, you might experience chest pain, heart disease, any respiratory issues, possible panic attacks, maybe even depression, insomnia. There's also a possibility to have immune system deficiencies, shoulder and upper back pain as well. And so that's just something to consider. And if you are looking to assist with your chakra balances, I am also a Reiki master. And so I have a Reiki service. I have 4 Reiki services on my website that you can tap into and book a Reiki session, or you can just simply purchase one of the Reiki infused Chiron candles, and it will help you in your day-to-day life with keeping your chakras open and balanced as well. It's really great for meditation. So light that thing while you're in meditation and focus on the chakra that you actually lit the candle for. All right. So Also, I mentioned that we're going to be focusing on the crown chakra this month. So this is the 7th chakra, right? It's the final and primary energy point of our body here. And so this is governing the entirety of our consciousness, including our thoughts, wisdom, and awareness. And so this energy point is basically the liaison between us and the universe or the divine, right? So getting all of it's like the receptors, keeping it open so we can receive the energy, we can receive the insight, and having the strong intuition that's necessary to make sound decisions, right? So if you have any imbalances or blockages in your crown chakra, you might experience migraines, thyroid issues, hormonal imbalances. There might be some cognitive issues, even neurological disorders are possible. There might be some nerve pain, some psychological issues going on, anxiety, maybe even hair loss. These are things that might, transpire with this, okay? So once again, if you're looking for any help with your chakras, I am that person. Boogie on down to my website. It will be in the description box below, so you can get all the services that you need. All right, so moving on into the month. Now let's talk about the astrology. That's what we're here for, okay? So let's talk about the astrology. So Venus is going to move into Virgo September 5th all the way through to September 29th. So for the next 3.5 or 4 weeks or so, we're going to be experiencing love in a very practical way. So as Venus leaves Leo and it enters into Virgo, our values and our love languages are shifting from grandiosity to practicality. And while it was in Leo, Venus had an activation with that fixed grand cross between Saturn and Aquarius, Uranus, Mars, and the North Node in Taurus. And also, let's not forget the South Node is in Scorpio. So there's a lot of things that were occurring with this. Some intense situations surface in our relationships and our finances. And this is causing us to make unexpected changes and head in a more innovative direction when it comes to these areas of our lives. Now, over the next 3 weeks, Venus is going to square Mars. That's in Gemini, and this is igniting a little friction between our ability to pursue our passions and the ability to remain receptive, right? So that's that heart chakra energy I was talking about, being able to know when to turn off the masculine energy and just receive, right? Mars is that masculine Martian energy that goes after things. And then you have that Venus energy. So Venus is squaring that Mars energy. So it might create some friction there. Okay, especially with it being in Virgo. Mars is like, I'm try a little bit of this. Mars and Gemini, it's like, I try a little bit of that, see what this is about. Let me try this, maybe that'll work. And you have all these many different ideas. And Venus is in Virgo and it's squaring Gemini. It's like, hey, let's be practical about what we are pursuing, right? And so Venus in Virgo is going to be highlighting the time to reap the harvest from the seeds that we've planted before, in regards to our possessions, our values, our relationships. And as Venus also trines the North Node while it's here in Virgo, and let's not forget Uranus is here also. And this is happening in the second part of the month. And so we're going to be hoping for those liberating changes within our finances and relationships. So there might be some really beautiful surprises and unexpected changes that comes when it comes to like our money, our possessions, our relationships. It could even be business partnerships, right? So just before Venus returns home to Libra at the end of the month, it's going to oppose Neptune, which is retrograde, and it's going to trine Pluto, which is also retrograde. So the latter portion of this month can seem a bit cloudy and unclear, especially in those Venusian themed or Venusian ruled areas of our lives. But the idea and the key is to stick to our values and stay rooted in what's practical, in those things that bring us pleasure, instead of just kind of floating about. With Venus making an opposition to Neptune, you might get offered some type of offer that's too good to be true. You might not be seeing things for what they really are. You might be idealizing a relationship and not seeing it in a practical way for what it really is or what it should be. You're rather focusing on what you hope it to be, right? Seeing the potential of it. Okay, so the season is shifting under this transit while Venus is, making, those different aspects. And so it's going to be moving, the sun will be moving into Libra, and the earth is going to begin to reap what has been sown with harvest season being here. It's now fall. And so we are to be, open, remain receptive to change, and we are also invited, you know, to follow suit of the season, right? So the season is, you know, Earth is changing, so we need to do the same, you know, just get in line. You know, the more we accept change and kind of go with the flow and follow the patterns and cycles with less resistance, the easier the flow is, right? None of it is like completely easy, but it's easier to flow with it. All right. Now we also have the full moon that happens at 17 degrees in Pisces. And this happens on September 10th at 9:58 a.m. And this is mountain time. So you would look at the actual time, 9:58, you know, mountain time in your time, and translate what that would be like, or what the time that is in your actual time zone. So anywho, the full moon is in Pisces, and it's indicating a cycle that has run its course, right? So it's a time to release. Think 6 months back during Pisces season, when we had the Pisces new moon, what were you manifesting? What were you creating? What intentions were you setting during that time, right? So what has flourished over those last 6 months from the previous energetic investments that we've made during that time? So September's full harvest moon, which is this moon, is peaking at 17 degrees in the sign of Pisces, and it's guiding us to go inward, right? And also be more spiritual, be more creative, and be more compassionate, and express the unconditional love, right? And so this moon is going to be making an opposition to the sun, and they are both going to be, so the sun and the moon are both going to be squaring off with Mars and Gemini. So this is igniting endings that are necessary to embark on the journey ahead. So it's like that opening square to both of these energies, in essence, right? So if the moon was in a conjunction to Mars at whatever point, or when the Mars was in conjunction with the sun, you know, that energy, this is kind of opening up to that and allowing the tension to be released a little bit, but it's still going to be a challenging aspect to it because those squares, so it's making like this T-square energy. And so there might be some intense vibes of letting things go because they're no longer working, or it has run its course. And also, the sun is still in Virgo, right? So it's squaring Mars and Gemini. So we already kind of have like that energy going on. And, you know, although it's a square, it's still providing us a gift, right? The gift with a gift with the ability to turn any adversity into a successful outcome, right? And we do that by applying pressure. We do that by fighting passionately for what we're going after, our goals. And this can be, you know, destructive and volatile energy to navigate if we are reactive rather than responsive. Okay. And so the sun is our vitality, it's our ability to stay courageous and confident. And, you know, that might take a blow. Our confidence might take a blow as the moon reaches its fullness in Pisces, only because of that square energy with Mars. Mars is our, you know, ability to take action. It's our energetic force, so to speak. And so this is just an invitation to recognize the insecurities and the lack of surety in our core expression in order to heal, repair, and release what no longer serves us, right? Especially on a psychological level or on a subconscious level, because Pisces rules the subconscious. Okay, so as Mars squares the moon, our emotions might intensify. So just kind of keep watch of that. And the desire to seek after our passions could increase, you know, with this energy as well. But the key, the idea is to be willing to pack light going ahead, right? We have to let go. Full moons are a time for releasing, letting go what's too heavy, you know, whether it's an emotional heaviness, mental, physical, material, you know, financial things that cannot tag along for the journey that lies ahead for us. All right. Now we have Mercury stationing retrograde at 8 degrees Libra, and this happens on September 10th all the way through to October 2nd. And Mercury in Libra, retrograding in Libra, and it's going to dip back into Virgo, I believe on the 23rd, but we'll get to that in a moment. It's not going to be as tense and chaotic as we expect a Mercury retrograde to be, right? So Mercury is the messenger, and it entered into the sign of Libra at the end of August, and it's, you know, kind of showing us almost immediately, you know, for us to have those conversations with others that will provide a variety of perspective on whatever issues that we've been having, right? So whether it's in relationship, whether it's in business partnership, legal things, you know, all those Libra rule things. And have the conversations, gain new perspective, get a different idea of what things could be, or a new perspective in how you can make change or improve the situation. So entering Libra, the Mercury entered into Libra while it was already in its pre-shadow retrograde phase. I believe that happened on the 22nd. And it had us all in this mental space to review our values regarding our workloads also, right? Because first it was in Virgo during that time when it entered into the shadow phase, and then it moved into Libra. So it's like find the balance and all of this. And so we have questions like, how have we been weighing the views of others over our own perspective of ourselves? Our initiatives and ideas, they possibly might need some grounding for a practical approach to form them, so kind of asking yourself those questions, like, how can I have a practical approach to whatever goal or whatever initiative or idea I'm trying to make concrete at this time? And possibly just wait till after the retrograde phase, don't implement anything new also. Now, during this retrograde phase, Mercury is going to be opposing Jupiter, which is also retrograde in Aries, and then it's going to re-enter Virgo. It's going to conjunct Venus, that's in Virgo, and then trine Pluto, which is retrograde in Capricorn. So having to revisit the options that were presented to us before that we possibly thought would never come back, or we were overlooked, or it was a missed opportunity, especially with Jupiter opposing Mercury. It's just showing us the many opportunities and avenues that we can actually, take advantage of at this time. So having to revisit those options that were presented to us before and wrap up any loose ends regarding practicality will assist us in becoming decisive with intent with all of the options that are being presented at this time. We might receive news about an opportunity that was ignored or overlooked, like I mentioned before, and possibly this new opportunity or this revisiting of this opportunity aligns with our values, and it creates more positive transformation into our realities. Okay. Now, moving forward, we have the sun entering into Libra. So this is the start of the autumn equinox. And this happens on September 22nd, all the way through to October 23rd. And, every year the sun transitions into Libra. We celebrate the autumn equinox. And so this is when in the northern hemisphere, it's autumn, but in the southern hemisphere, it is spring. So on this day, the sun is crossing from the northern to the southern region of the celestial equator, and it's creating equal amounts of day and night. And so the seasons change and the reality around us follows suit also. So shortly after shifting into Libra, the sun and the Mercury is going to come into Cazimi. And so it's going to be giving Mercury a beneficial energy to the characteristics that Mercury already harnesses, right? So we might receive clarity and insight into something that has been perplexing us. We might receive some type of news or information that's going to help us with something, or, something in that line. Also, there might be insight to situations about our finances, our self-worth, our values, our partnerships. And since Mercury is retrograde, this is going to be happening on an internal level. You might receive some intuitive download. You might receive some aha moment, or just a message from the divine sitting at your altar speaking to your ancestors. However, you might receive some information on an internal level, or just come up with some, like, just an aha moment about something during this time, because Mercury is Caziming at retrograde while it's in retrograde. So Jupiter is going to be opposing the sun at the end of the month also. And so this is giving us the optimism to push through the rest of the season of gold and glitz and whatnot. Okay. Now, like I was talking about, the sun Cazimi, all right, it's happening at 0 degrees Libra. Mercury is retrograde, and this happens on September 23rd. And so it's happening right before Mercury dips back into Virgo. Okay, and this is happening it's early in the morning. So it's 6:49 a.m. Mountain time. So it might be 2 hours before, 2 hours after that time, depending on what region you're in. So Mercury's retrograde period is going to bring up the dynamics of our commitments and our partnerships that are out of alignment with our values. And as Mercury meets the sun, we are provided with a bit of clarity to, those perplexing situations. Now, we may have received some information that shines a light on the path ahead, and maybe some suggestions to redirect because of that. So that can happen externally. It also can happen internally because, like I mentioned, Mercury is retrograde. So 0 degrees is a critical degree, particularly for cardinal signs. And so this is encouraging us to forge a way not yet taken and navigate uncharted territory with discernment, right? With a clear focus of what's happening. And also just take your time to recheck and redo and revisit and revise, and just make sure you're taking your time before you make any decision, right? So the key is to remain open to the insight and the ideas that are coming along with this transit, because Mercury is in Libra, and Libra is ruled by Venus, and it's all about receptivity. Okay, so be open to receive. All right, now Mercury dips back into Virgo, also September 23rd, right after it Cazimis with the sun. This happens in the afternoon, sometime around noon, but check your time zone for this. So it dips back into Virgo, where it began its pre-retrograde shadow phase. And the themes associated with this are workload, burnout, our health, our routines. They're all coming back around once more so that we can get a final change on it, right? Finalize the changes once and for all. And retrogrades are always a time for rest, review, and revising. Check your work twice, check it 3 times if you have to. Get a second opinion, get someone who has a professional eye on whatever topic that you need to kind of look at, right? And also just kind of reviewing and revising anything that's not working out anymore. If it's not working for our highest good, now it's the time to create a new plan, and then you can implement it once, the direct phase and it's out of its shadow phase or whatever. So there's no shame in slowing down just a little bit to weigh our options, because like I said, Jupiter played a major part in this being opposed Mercury while it was in Libra. And it's still in a slight opposition, at the last degrees of Virgo as well. And so Mercury is going to be making a conjunction to Venus, and it's also trining Pluto at the end of the month. I previously mentioned that. So this is an amplification of our relationships and our financial topics that need transformation. So that's going to come back around while it is retrograde. So keep that in mind. Now, the new moon is happening at 2 degrees in Libra on September 25th, right? And this is happening in the evening, in the evening, sometime around 9:50 p.m. Mountain time. So like, again, check your actual time zone. And so with this new moon in Libra, it's in Libra season, there are themes around balance and harmony that are coming to the highlight at this time while the moon is peaking. Our intentions should include a focus on values, beauty, harmony, balance within our partnerships, whether they're intimate, platonic, business, however. Now, we are embarking on a new path associated with our future commitments, and understanding how much we can manage without disrupting or compromising our values. And as the new moon forms, there's that loose conjunction that's happening with Mercury retrograde, and also, Venus in Virgo. So keep that in mind. Mercury's influence on this new moon is going to be providing that insight into our emotional world, right? So we will be able to socialize and gain perspectives from others with this. Also assisting in making final decisions that are better aligned with our values, where it is that we desire to be, where we're trying to go, what is it that we truly want. So that loose trine to Pluto that's retrograde in Capricorn is allowing that determination, that mental focus, and the magnetism for this moon, for us to actually set intentions that we are going to attract whatever it is that we are desiring to create. But it still has to be practical because Venus is still in Virgo. So keep that in mind. All right. Now, last but not least, we have Venus entering into Libra. This happens at the end of the month on September 29th, all the way through to October 23rd. So I'm going to talk about this, but I'm also going to revisit this when we do our October forecast. So, because it happens right at the end of the month. So, anywho, Venus is leaving Virgo at the end of the month. And this is, you know, when it was in Virgo, we were strengthening our practicality and love, right? Our routines, our self-worth, things like that. And as it returns home to Libra, we will take on a more diplomatic approach in our expression of love, right? So people with this placement, they are naturally charming, artistic, and they can be idealistic in love. And we may find that we take on a bit more of the natural energy during the entirety of this transit. So Libra is a cardinal air sign, and you know that focuses on finding harmony with others. It's very action based, like you know, kind of wants that, but also has a problem with being decisive, right? Also has a problem with boundaries. So this is something that might come up as well. And any imbalances in our partnerships will not be ignored during this time, no matter how much we try to hide them or hide from the imbalances in our relationship is going to really come to the surface. Now, Venus doesn't make any aspects this month of September because it's happening so close to the end of the month, but it will oppose Jupiter retrograde and Chiron in Aries at the start of October. So we'll talk more about that in the October astrology forecast, but it's setting the tone for the remainder of spooky season. I will definitely tell you that. All right. So that is the forecast for the month of September. So now let's get into these readings for all 12 signs. Okay. So for Aries and Aries rising, looking at September, we start off with Mars. It's already in the sign of Gemini. It's navigating through your third house. And with Mars in your third house, it is activating and, you know, kind of cutting out, trimming the fat, so to speak, in different areas. It's also showing you opportunities that you have, giving you different ideas when it comes to small business. You might be connecting and communicating with family members or, you know, your environment. You might be really activating a new path in your small business, maybe even purchasing a new vehicle or getting rid of a vehicle. Also, you might pick up more movement yourself, right? Mars is the ruler of Aries and Scorpio, so that's your first and your eighth house. So this energy could really be having you feeling more active, having you feeling like what is it that you need to implement into your small business to make more money, or how can you utilize your resources? You might be receiving some information on helping you, you know, get more financial help or joint finances with your partner, or just money that you get, maybe a loan or a grant or something along those lines for your business, or, you know, maybe to buy a car, something like that. Now, Venus is going to enter into Virgo, and that's in your sixth house. So that's the house of your health and your daily habits. Then the full moon is going to happen at 17 degrees in Pisces in your 12th house. And so this has a lot to do with, you know, paying attention to your dreams. You know, they're the self-sabotaging behaviors and things of that nature that you have been dealing with are going to be releasing during this time, building more confidence and more sense of security in who it is that you are, especially with matters of the heart, matters of home and family, with the moon ruling your fourth house, and the ruler of this moon being both Pisces, both Neptune and Jupiter, because, you know, it's in Pisces. So that's your 12th and your first house. So it has a lot to do with, you know, it's currently in your 12th and first house. So it has a lot to do with your initiatives and just who it is that you are, and allowing self-sabotaging behaviors to dissolve, allowing yourself to be more spiritually inclined and, you know, more connected to your creativity as well. Now, Mercury is stationing retrograde at 8 degrees in Libra, and this is in your 7th house. And then it's going to dip back into your 6th house in Virgo. All right. So this is a lot to do with your commitments, reviewing your commitments, finding harmony and balance in your relationships as well, and then your commitments in your daily routine and your habits. So, you know, you might be picking up a new health regimen, you know, doing things on that level. You know, it might be working out more or something like that, and just being committed to it. Then the sun is going to enter Libra. So this is the autumn equinox, also in your 7th house. So the focus is definitely on your commitments and partnerships, and, you know, just having more fun. Also being committed to kind of like reignite that inner child that's in your life as well, finding the balance between your commitments and your innocence. I like that. So also, we have the new moon that happens at 2 degrees Libra, also in your 7th house. So there's a lot of 7th house energy going on for you at this time, Aries. So with everything, mostly everything being in your seventh house, there's a lot of focus on your commitments, a lot of focus on legal issues, maybe contractual things. Maybe you're signing for like a home, or you're reviewing the contract or closing on a home, something like that, or you're actually setting intentions to purchase a home with this new moon being in your seventh house, and it rules your fourth house, right? So that is something also that's possible. Now, last but not least, for you, Aries, we have Venus entering into Libra, also in your seventh house. That happens at the end of the month. And so it's the ruler of your second and your seventh. So this indicates, reconnecting and deepening your bond with your partner, right? If you're in an intimate relationship, right? Your partners, if it's in business, it could be financial, just kind of bonding on a different level financially, if it's like business partners and things of that nature. All right. Now, moving on to Taurus and Taurus rising. We have Mars in Gemini in your second house, and this has a lot to do with your values, your self-worth, your finances. So Mars going through your second house, you might be experiencing some self-worth things, some things on a subconscious level, how you have been sabotaging yourself, and releasing and healing those areas of your life, because Mars rules your 12th house. So it's on a subconscious level, right? Also rules your seventh house. So maybe even it's triggering some things coming up, like your insecurities in your relationships, or your self-sabotaging behaviors within your relationships as well. And when it has to do with your value, your self-worth, how you value yourself, and allowing those things to be activated, so that way you can face them head on and release them. Now, Venus is going to enter into Virgo in your fifth house, and this is going to help you be practical in how you enjoy yourself, tapping back into that inner child, picking up the things that you used to do for hobbies when you were a kid. Be it, it has a lot to do with your body as well, because Venus rules your first and your sixth house. So that is Taurus and Libra. So sixth house is health, first house is your body. So it has a lot to do with that. So maybe, picking up like something that makes you physically active, finding more value in, or finding your health, finding more value in having a healthy life, a healthy routine in your lifestyle, and being more practical about that. Then you have the full moon that happens at 17 degrees in the sign of Pisces in your 11th house. So something coming to a head, culminating when it comes to your goals, your friendships. And it has a lot to do with your goals in your like small business, your immediate environment, maybe even your vehicles, your perceptions, your skills and trades that you have obtained over time. And it's just kind of coming to the surface of things. So you might receive some information or something, or some news about a goal that you have obtained over time. And, the ruler of this moon is Neptune and Jupiter, because they both rule Pisces, in traditional and modern astrology. So that's your 11th house and your 12th house. So there might be something that's dissolving, maybe a goal or something, maybe a networking circle that you're affiliated with that's dissolving or going to another level. You might receive some information like for affiliation with like a large organization or some type of nonprofit or something like that. Okay, now Mercury is stationing retrograde at 8 degrees in Libra, and this is in your sixth house. So with Mercury retrograding in your sixth house, this has a lot to do with your daily routines and your habits. Also, with Mercury, although it's in your sixth house, is still the ruler of Gemini and Virgo, which is your second and your fifth. So this has a lot to do with your partnerships and your romance, your inner child and your values, who it is that you are, your hobbies, the things that bring you joy. Right. So reviewing those things, getting back in the swing of those things, implementing something new in your daily habits is going to assist you with your health. Right. You might have some like new health situation that comes up, and you're going to have to, figure out how to implement something in your daily habits. Is going to be fun and joy and bring back that spark in your life. Then it's going to dip back into Virgo in your fifth house, so you can actually make some solid changes. Okay. Now, the sun enters Libra, so it's the autumn equinox in your sixth house, and the sun rules Leo, which is your fourth house. So this has a lot to do with a lot of focus being in the home, the daily routines and whatnot in the home, your health, your habits, maybe even work. So there might be some type of opportunity that comes back for you to work with someone, like a missed opportunity for work, or for maybe even for you to hire someone as well. Hire someone to work on something around the house also. That's possible. Now, the new moon happens at 2 degrees Libra in your sixth house. You have a lot of sixth house energy going on. So this has a lot to do with work and routines and health and, just kind of finding finding the value within having not necessarily a strict schedule, but a solid schedule that's beneficial, and it provides a sense of pleasure to you. Okay. Now, this new moon is it's in your sixth house, it's in Libra, but the moon rules Cancer, which is your third house, so it has a lot to do with you setting new intentions about your environment, about the movement, your actual mobility, skills and trades. Maybe you're going back to school, maybe you're applying for a certification or implementing a new certification in your business or in work. Sun ruling your fourth house is something that's going to bring more stability. Also, and the ruler of this moon is Virgo, which is your fifth house. So, it could be something creative that you're implementing as well. Now, last for you, Taurus, Venus is entering into Libra. And so this is your sixth house. And, Venus in your sixth house is going to be adding that sense of value to your health, your daily routines, making sure that you're sticking to it. You're going to be enjoying it, having that sense of pleasure. There may be some changes to your body with Venus ruling your chart. Is your chart ruler. There might be some changes in your health, right? Beneficial changes, because Venus is it's the benefic, it's one of the benefics. So there you have your reading for you, Taurus. Now, Gemini and Gemini rising. So this is starting off, you have Mars. It's already in Gemini in your first house. So, with Mars being, in your sign, there's actively some changes happening with you directly, with your goals, with your friendships, with your daily habits, with your health. Maybe you're activating a health goal. Maybe you're activating a work goal, and you're achieving that during this time. Okay, Venus is entering into Virgo in your fourth house. And so this is the ruler of your 12th house as well as your fifth house. So this might be a time where you are really valuing your connection with your children. You're getting back in alignment with your kids and finding more joy and more happiness and connecting with them on a spiritual level, teaching them something possibly as well. That's if you have children. If not, if you don't have children, then this is definitely something within the home and family that you're doing. Maybe you're getting into a creative project that's going to bring a better sense of security. Maybe you're just doing some kind of sprucing up to your home, right? Venus and Virgo is in your fourth house. You might be remodeling your home or buying new pieces of furniture or something like that to decorate your home. Now, full moon is happening in Pisces in your 10th house. And so this is a culminating experience that's happening with your reputation, right? Your public reputation, your responsibilities to the world, your influence, your career. And so with the full moon, with the moon ruling your second house of Cancer, has a lot to do with your finances and your career, your worth, your value, your influence in your career as well, right? So the ruler of this moon is Pisces. So this is the 10th house in your chart. And the ruler of this moon is in your 10th house is Neptune, which is in Pisces in your 10th house. And then Jupiter is in Aries in your 11th house. So it has a lot to do with the opportunities that you find in your networking circles, connecting with your friendships, being in the right place at the right time, things of that nature. And it just kind of come into this culminating experience as well. Maybe even letting something go that doesn't align to your values also, because full moons are a time for releasing. Now, Mercury stations retrograde in Libra in your fifth house, then it dips back into Virgo in your fourth house. And so with Mercury retrograding in Libra first, it's in your fifth house. So this is just you revisiting a lot of those things associated with like your inner child, maybe your own children, creating a plan, some type of schedule for your kids. And then once it dips back into the fourth house, it's like you're implementing this into the home, like you're actually finalizing it. You're being more practical about it, finding ways to practically implement this, with your children. Also, it might have a lot to do with like your sense of joy and your hobbies, maybe even some romance, romantic things going on, but more so just reviewing your sense of confidence in yourself, right? Your sense of stability, your own sense of security, and tapping into those things that once brought you that, right? That joy to make you feel like, you know, really happy and in tune with yourself. All right, now we have the sun entering into Libra. So this is the autumn equinox, and it's in your 5th house. Sun is the ruler of your 3rd house. So your focus is going to be on like creative projects, maybe even, 3rd house matters of like small business, your immediate environment, connecting with childhood friends, things like that. The new moon happens at 2 degrees Libra in your 5th house also. So you have a 5th house focus this month. So it's about joy, your sense of expression, your hobbies, your children, your romance, even the romantic side of life, creative projects, tapping into your inner joy, that inner child, your innocence, and just feeling revitalized also. Okay, so with this new moon, setting intentions towards 5th house energies, all of those things I just mentioned as well. So Venus is moving into your 5th house also, and this is at the end of the month. And so with Venus moving home in your 5th house, it has a lot to do with you just really feeling yourself, really feeling at home with who it is that you are, right? The 5th house is our authenticity as well. And so just kind of feeling more authentically aligned with who it is that you are, that you've allowed certain things to be released, and now you're implementing the healing in your inner child as well. Okay. Now we have Cancer, and for Cancer rising, we have Mars in Gemini, and this is in your 12th house. So eliminating self-sabotaging behaviors, maybe even activating something new when it comes to your career and your own sense of expression, your creativity. Just allowing the activation of that healing to happen within your creative expression and your responsibility to the world. You might become more vocal during this time as well. Mars is in Gemini after all, right? So that is something. And then Venus is in the sign of Virgo, which is in your 3rd house this month. And so Venus in Virgo has a lot to do with finding the practical approaches in your environment, in your small business. Maybe even, at the start of this, you might find yourself going on like a quick trip. It could be in this, same state as you live, or you might not, depending on your own individual chart, you might actually go on a long distance journey somewhere. So that is also something. It might be a goal for you that you have set out, but definitely achieving goals in like small business, achieving goals in your skills and trades, connecting with your friends, connecting with influential people in your life, whether they're women, especially with Venus ruling your 4th house, and that's, women, influential women in your life as well, connecting in that way, and just kind of meeting certain goals as well. Now, the full moon happens in Pisces in your 9th house, and this is culminating that experience, right? The moon rules your chart. So your chart ruler is the moon, right? Your Cancer rising. So anything that happens to the moon happens to you. So at the full moon happening, you might have like heightened sensitivity. You might, find that something is culminating when it comes to like your career, your long distance journeys, maybe like a mentorship that you've been embarking in. You're now finally finishing it, okay, during this time. Also, Mercury stations retrograde in Libra. So you have a lot of 4th house energies that's happening this month, right? Mercury is retrograding in Libra in your 4th house, dips back into your 3rd house. The sun enters into Libra, and this is the start of autumn equinox in your 4th house. The new moon happens at 2 degrees Libra, also in your 4th house. Venus enters into Libra, also in your 4th house. So all these things, these 4 things are happening towards the second part of the month. So you have a hyper focus on your 4th house, which is your home, your family, your foundation, your influence, the influential women in your life, all of those different things. So you might receive some information from an influential woman that helps you. Mercury is retrograding in your 4th house, so it's tying up loose ends. It's reviewing, missed opportunities that have happened when it comes to home and family, things of that nature, maybe even your career, and finding that balance in between those two, career life and home life. Then when it dips back into Virgo in your 3rd house, it's like, applying the skills and things of that nature. And so with the focus in your 4th house, especially with the sun and the new moon happening there and Venus being there, has a lot to do with finding the values in your home and family as well. The new moon is a time to set new intentions regarding your home and family, especially things that you can implement into your home, right? So whether it's buying a home, whether it's, creating a new structured schedule within the home, things of that nature as well, especially because that Virgo energy is still there, the ruler of, this moon is Venus, and Venus at this time is in Virgo because it dips back into Virgo. All right, so there you have it, Cancer and Cancer rising. Now for Leo and Leo rising, Mars is in Gemini in your 11th house. So this has a lot to do with activating your goals, maybe even eliminating some friendships, reevaluating what your goals are and what your networking circles look like, and what is going to bring you that sense of balance in your sense of security, right? So it might be even a mentorship that you're finished with, right? Because Mars rules your 9th house. So mentorship might even be like a goal to move at a long distance. That is being activated, right? Mars is in Gemini for 7 months. So this is going to be some time of this activation. Venus is also entering into Virgo. This happens in your 2nd house. You know, Venus is the ruler of Taurus and Libra. So that's your 10th and 3rd house. So it has a lot to do with small business and career, skills and trades and responsibilities to the world, your public image. So you might find yourself becoming more influential during this time while Venus transits through Virgo. Okay, then we have a full moon that happens in Pisces in your 8th house. So this is like the culmination of like your partner's finances, right? So your partner might receive a raise during this time, or you might, you know, be the partner that makes more money. But more than likely, it's like your partner because it's joint finances, so or shared resources. So you might, you know, have more money coming in from your partner at this time, just kind of like a culminating experience of that. You know, maybe even a release of something, some financial burden is being released because, you know, the moon rules Cancer and that's your 12th house. And then the 8th house is like a debt, right? It rules debt. So there might be a financial burden that's being released at this time as well. Mercury stations retrograde in your 3rd house in Libra, dips back into Virgo in your 2nd house. And then you also have the sun in Libra, the new moon in Libra, and Venus entering Libra, all in your 3rd house. So lots of 3rd house focus for you. And so this has a lot to do with your perceptions, your skills and trades, your immediate environment, maybe your vehicle, maybe your siblings, you know, your family members, things of that nature. So you might be connecting with family during this time. You might be receiving information from like a sibling, talking to your sibling, finding the value in that, especially with Mercury retrograde in Libra and it ruling your 11th and your 2nd house, right? Virgo and Gemini. So connecting with friendships, receiving information from friends, you know, maybe even a friend taking like a skill or a trade from a friend or someone that you know, maybe you're doing a new certification or something like that, or helping someone with that. It dips back into your 2nd house. So there might be information about your values, your money that comes up, maybe even, you know, conversations in your relationships. That is something. With the sun and the new moon as well as Venus all in your 3rd house in Libra, you know, value coming to you within your career sector, right? In your immediate environment, talking with your siblings. The new moon is setting intentions towards your 3rd house energy. So that could be skills, trades, your vehicle, your siblings, your family, small business, you know, maybe even taking a trip, maybe even moving. So you might be receiving new neighbors during this time. Okay. So that is all that I have for you, for Leo and Leo rising. Now for Virgo and Virgo rising, Mars is in Gemini, and this is in your 10th house. So it is activating and eliminating lots of things that are associated with your public image. So you might be taking on a more influential, more social route to things in your career, your public image, something that you may not have even thought that you could do anymore. You're now doing it. Mars is in Gemini. You know, it's giving you options, it's letting you try this, talk to that, have this idea, you know, trying them all out, right? Mars and Gemini also. With Mars being in Gemini, it still is the ruler of Aries and Scorpio. So that is your 8th and 3rd house. So it could be that, you know, you're receiving more finances from your partner's money for a small business, or you could be receiving more money or changing your career to be a small business owner and tapping into your resources. That could be something as well. Venus entering into Virgo. This is in your 1st house. So, you know, Mercury rules your chart because you're a Virgo rising. So Venus is in Virgo, so it moves into your 1st house. So you might be feeling more magnetic, more attractive. You might be valuing your body more. Really taking focus in your education as well, right? Because Venus rules your 9th house, Taurus. Maybe even planning for a trip, long distance travel, something along with your path as well. Something that has to do with, you know, your goals, your something that you want to obtain for your life. And it might even be something in relation to partnership and your values, maybe even getting more money from like a legal issue or something like that. Maybe even getting money from school. That could be a possibility as well. Now, the full moon happens in Pisces, and this is in your 7th house. And so moons are, you know, full moons are a time for releasing. So this is like a culminating experience when it comes to like your commitments. So you're recognizing what parts of your commitments, your relationship. So this also could indicate that a relationship is going to the next level, that it's increasing. There might be an engagement. There might be a commitment that you're taking on, you know, for like a goal. Maybe you're committing yourself to like a large organization or a nonprofit, because the moon is the ruler of Cancer, which is your 11th house, you know, and you know, it also could be, you know, partnership in that way, intimacy. The ruler of this full moon is Neptune and Jupiter. So Neptune is currently in Pisces in your 7th house, you know, healing your commitments and whatnot. And then Jupiter is in your 8th house, giving you many opportunities on how you can make money, or, you know, expanding your partner's money, your partner's resources as well. Okay, Mercury stations retrograde at 8 degrees Libra in your 2nd house. The sun enters into Libra in your 2nd house. New moon happens also in your 2nd house in Libra. And then Venus is going to enter into your 2nd house, which is also Libra. All right, so 2nd house focus. So it's a lot about your values, your partnerships, your money, your material possessions. All of those things are really strongly focused towards the latter half of the month of September. So when Mercury stations retrograde, it does dip back into Virgo in your 1st house. So there's going to be some opportunities that come up about money, about relationships that you thought you missed, maybe even your partner, right? Because Jupiter is currently in your 8th house, right? So with Jupiter being in your 8th house opposing Mercury in your 2nd house in Libra, there might be some opportunities that come back around for your partner to make more money, maybe a job or something like that, or maybe like a loan that's been granted, something along those lines. And it moves back into your 1st house. So you're just going to be rebranding yourself. You might pick up like a new wardrobe. You might pick up wearing something that you used to wear, or a haircut or a hairstyle that you used to wear, or maybe even just completely changing your body, right? The 1st house rules your body. So you might start focusing on, you know, getting your old body back, you know, that kind of thing. So the sun, the new moon, and Venus are all going to be in your 2nd house in Libra. So your focus is partnerships and relationships, commitments, your you know, material possessions, your values, your self-worth, that as well. Those are going to be things that you're working on. The new moon is a time to set new intentions about money, relationships in your chart. So if you're looking to elevate your relationships and partnerships, this is that. It's that time, you know. You know, also making money, how you make money for yourself, you know, setting a goal for that. That's also a time to do so as well. Venus in Libra, this is in your 2nd house. So you might actually receive more money, you know, that you make for yourself from your business. So there might be like money that comes back to you, or that comes to you that you completely forgot about, that you had no idea. And it could be from like a job or something like that. All right, now we have Libra and Libra rising. This is happening, excuse me, not this, Mars in Gemini is happening in your 9th house. And so with Mars navigating your 9th house, it might be, you know, activating, you know, like a trip, a long distance trip, or a travel, a commitment to, you know, planning a trip. Maybe even a commitment in a relationship could be coming in, or maybe the ending of a relationship is happening. So you can commit to something that's, you know, more aligned with your path, more aligned with your values. Okay, so that is also something that's happening as well. You could be picking up, like the speed could be picking up, like in school or in education if you're in school. All right, now Venus enters into Virgo in your 12th house. And so as Venus is in your 12th house, is adding that sense of value in a practical way when it comes to how are you going to be releasing the self-sabotaging behaviors, right? Those types of things. Also just kind of tapping into your own sense of spirituality, your own sense of creativity, right? Venus rules art, but doing so in a practical way. There could be like an ending to some type of money or finances that's happening as well, or you could be receiving money that you've been waiting on from someone else, right? Venus rules your 8th house, which is Taurus. All right, and also rules your 1st house. So it rules your chart ruler. So it's you. It's something coming to you, and also could be something that you're actually implementing. So The full moon happens in Pisces in your 6th house. And so this is a lot to do with your health. There's like some type of situation with your health coming to a head, maybe even coming to an end. With the full moon happening in Pisces, 6th house, still, the moon is the ruler of Cancer. So that's your 10th house. So it could be a lot of things going on with work. So maybe you're, receiving a raise at work, or receiving more recognition or something of that nature when it comes to the work that you do. Maybe even your influence, right? Your public influence as well. Okay, Mercury stations retrograde in Libra. The sun enters Libra, which is the autumn equinox. The new moon happens also in Libra, and then Venus enters Libra. So this is all happening in your 1st house, right? Since you're a Libra rising, all of this is directly affecting you, right? So lots of Libra focused 1st house energy. So everything is directly happening to you. Mercury is retrograding first in your 1st house, and then dips back into your 12th house to wrap up those loose ends about those self-sabotaging behaviors and that inner critic that has been just chirping in your head. So first is going to give you the ability to rebrand yourself, right? So there might be some balance and some missed opportunities that could be coming in from, like, partnerships, or maybe you're going to be reconnecting with an old friend or an old partner or something along those lines. All right. The sun is going to have you focus more so on yourself, right? Really focused on your body and expressing yourself and being more confident. You might feel more social. You might feel more outgoing during this time. The new moon is happening also in your 1st house in Libra. And so this is a time to set new intentions about your career, how you want to show up in the world, your goals, and as well as anything that is standing in your way from achieving those, allowing those things to dissolve. And then you have Venus in Libra also in your 1st house. So you might find yourself feeling out a little bit more, valuing yourself, valuing your body. You might be changing your wardrobe. You might be, really shifting the way that you show up and how you value yourself, right? Also, you might be making a commitment to a trip or to some type of educational pursuit, or maybe even a mentor. Okay. Now, for Scorpio and Scorpio rising, this Mars energy, I keep saying this, Mars energy is happening in Gemini in your 8th house. So with Mars being in your 8th house, it has a lot to do with activation of your partner's resources, your joint finances, debts, and karma. So you're like going through this money management thing. You might want to get involved with like a financial advisor. That might be someone to help you restructure your money. There are many different opportunities, many different ideas that are coming up when it comes to your money, maybe even your partner's money. Maybe you and your partner sit down to restructure your finances, right? Mars is the ruler of Aries. So that's your 6th house. That's scheduling, that's structuring, all of those things. So this is something that you're directly doing. Now, Venus is entering into Virgo. So this is your 11th house. And so with Venus entering in your 11th house, there's going to be possibly money coming in from like an inheritance, or maybe an old contract that you forgot about, and it could be coming in. Also, you're going to be feeling more connected with your friendships and your networking circles during this time as well. And just valuing them in a very practical way. You might even receive like favors from a friend, helping hand from a friend during this time, or maybe a large organization could be assisting you as well with your commitments, maybe a legal issue, since Venus is the ruler of your 7th house. Okay, now there's a full moon that happens in Pisces, and this is in your 5th house. And so the full moon in Pisces in your 5th house is like reigniting that inner child, but there's like this culminating experience that's happening with that full moon energy. You're able to recognize the parts of you that, you don't resonate with anymore, right? Just kind of like, I know who I am. I'm resonating with that. 5th house energy is about your core expression, your self-expression. Also, it's about children and romance and hobbies and joy and fun and many other things like creative projects. So this might be the culminating experience of any of those things, right? Especially with the full moon ruling Cancer, which is your 9th house, has a lot to do with your path, maybe education, something along those lines. Maybe you've been learning something creative and now it's like coming to an end. That could be something as well. And Mercury stations retrograde at 8 degrees Libra. This is in your 12th house. And then it dips back in your 11th house. So Mercury is there. Sun is now going to be entering into your 12th house. The moon, the new moon, excuse me, is entering into your 12th house, or happening in your 12th house. And then Venus is entering into your 12th house. So all of these things are happening in your 12th house. So lots of 12th house focus for you, Scorpio. So, very very introspective. You might even be going into like some isolation or seclusion, working on some healing, inner child healing as well, especially with that full moon happening in the 5th house, just understanding that as well. You might be receiving some information or some missed opportunities when it comes to work, or maybe a health situation, right? Because the Mercury station is retrograde in your 12th house. And so 12th house is about healing, and it's opposite Jupiter, which is in your 6th house, right? And so with it being opposite Jupiter in your 6th house, opportunities about your health, the truth about your health coming out, and now you're understanding what's happening with your health, and now you're able to take action on it. So you might be having some opportunities that come up to actually help you combat your health issues, okay? Mercury dips back into your 11th house when it goes into Virgo, so it's like wrapping up those loose ends about your goals, creating the plan, the structure, all of those things. Now, the sun is going to be in Libra, so 12th house also with that. And so your focus is on healing. Your focus is on yourself on a subconscious level, spirituality and creativity. The new moon happens here also in your 12th house. So setting intentions about that, about healing, your sabotaging behaviors, maybe even like a foreign settlement, maybe a long journey trip or a pilgrimage or something along those lines that you're looking to take as well. The moon is a ruler of your 9th house. So that's, long distance travels as well. So Venus is going to be here also in your 12th house at the end of the month. And so with it being in your 12th house, there might be a dissolving or an ending of some type of joint finances or shared resources or something like that. So not necessarily from you, where now like your partner is making more money because Venus rules your 8th house. Your partner could be making more money. So it's like using less of your own and more of your partner's money, like, that kind of thing, like you're sharing, you're joining your finances truly at this time. Now, for Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, Mars is going to be transiting through your 7th house for the next 7 months. And this is going to be really activating your partnership sector. This is activating your commitments, legal things, right? So showing you many ideas, showing you different ways of doing different things when it comes to your commitments. So you might have many commitments coming up. It's also activating, your relationships as well. That's also something. With Mars ruling Aries and Scorpio, that's your 5th house and your 12th house. So you might be committing your children to something creative, right? Maybe you're committing your child to a creative situation or something that's more, because, it rules your 5th house. That's creativity. It's like projects as well, like, children also. And then 12th house is creativity, is spirituality, is healing. So that is also something that is possible at this time. You're committing, like putting your child in dance class, or you're putting your child in, some type of commitment that's more aligned to, creativity, something like that. Now, Venus enters into Virgo, and this is in your 10th house. So you might be receiving a raise, or you might be receiving a new job offer during this time. And it aligns more to your goals and your values. And it's something that is much more practical in what it is that you're possibly doing right now. Or you're just receiving more money, and it's like, oh, okay, that's better. That's more practical than what I've been making, kind of thing. So and that is also something to consider. Now you have the full moon that happens in Pisces at 17 degrees in your 4th house. So this is a culminating experience about your home and family. Maybe you're releasing a home, releasing like maybe the end of a lease of an apartment. Now you're moving into like a home, an actual home, or you're moving in, with someone. Full moon is always a culminating experience to let something go, because now you're reaping the harvest. And, we're right at the thick of harvest season. Is right up on the horizon. So keep that in mind as well. The moon rules your 8th house. So it could be like letting go of a debt, right? Also, it could be some kind of information coming out about a debt of a home or something like that at this time. And now you're able to take care of it, right? So just kind of releasing a debt in some essence. Now, Mercury stations retrograde in your 11th house in Libra. The sun enters Libra The new moon happens also in Libra, and then Venus enters Libra. So all of these things are happening in your 11th house. And so with Mercury stationing retrograde, you are revisiting and getting opportunities that you once thought were missed when it comes to creative projects, your sense of joy and fun, having, maybe even romantic partnerships as well, maybe something going on with your children, connecting with old friends, childhood friends as well, or reconnecting in that essence. Something that aligns to your goals as well. So Mercury stations, in Libra first, and then it dips back into Virgo, which is in your 10th house. So kind of tying up those loose ends about, work, your public image, your responsibilities, things like that. So with the sun being here in your 11th house, your focus is on your goals and your friendships, overall, your networking circles. Maybe even traveling, at a long distance. Mercury is the ruler of, our siblings and how we relate to people. And so Mercury is also here in your 11th house. So you might be connecting with a sibling, right? And something that brings in some harmony. Now, the new moon happens at 2 degrees also in Libra. So this is also in your 11th house. So it's a time to set intentions regarding your goals, your friendships, what type of friendships you want to have in your life, what type of connections you want to have in your life. The moon rules your 8th house, goals to let go of debt, things like that. Then Venus enters into your 11th house. So you actually might receive money, right, from a job or some type of commitment. That might be something that comes back around for you as well. All right. Let's see. So then we have Capricorn and Capricorn rising. So Mars is going to be transiting your 6th house while it's in the sign of Gemini. And so this is activating like a health issue, right? So maybe there's been like this health situation that's been going on. You have many ideas about how to combat it. Maybe you have been having a really busy day-to-day life. Maybe there's been a lot of communication and information going on within your work. And so there's just going to be more of that for the rest of this 7-month cycle with Mars being in Gemini, right? Especially within your home and family and you achieving your goals, right? So just having to get your scheduling in order to maintain and manage everything that's happening, right? Venus is entering into Virgo. So it's saying, hey, let's be practical about things, right? And this is still in Virgo season. So that's the focus, Capricorn. The focus is to be practical about all of your endeavors. So Venus in Virgo is in your 9th house. So it has a lot to do with you having some type of commitment towards like a long distance travel, maybe even a long distance commitment in a relationship, a romantic relationship. There might be an opportunity for you to travel for work, especially with Venus ruling your 5th house and your 10th house. So it could be that you're just going on a fun trip, or it could be that you're traveling for work as well. Okay, now the full moon happens in Pisces, and this is in your 3rd house. So this is a culminating experience about like a skill or a trade or some type of education, maybe your immediate environment or a vehicle. You're releasing, you're letting it go. You could be buying a new vehicle, signing a new contract during this time for a new car. With the full moon happening in your in your 3rd house, it still rules your 7th house. So it's commitments, it's contracts. So it's something legal is happening. Also, you might receive like the culminating experience of a relationship that's going on. That might be something that's happening as well. Mercury stations retrograde in Libra. The sun enters Libra. The new moon happens in Libra. And then Venus enters Libra, all in your 10th house. So you have 10th house focus this month, Capricorn. So it's career, public image, public responsibilities, your public influence. So your influence might take on a more broader approach, right? Your career might pick up a little bit more busy. You might get a new job, or you might get information about your job, right? Mercury is retrograding in Libra. So there might be an opportunity that comes back around for you for work that's more in alignment. It brings more harmony to you. So you might switch jobs at this time, or you might receive a raise or information about a raise. Or this could be that opportunity for you to travel for work, especially with Mercury ruling your 6th and 9th house. So that's your daily routines, and that's traveling, that's long distance trips. Now, also, this could be that you're just going on a fun trip, like I said. Now, Mercury is going to dip back into your 9th house, so this planning for this trip also could be, with that energy. And then with the sun being in your 10th house, your focus is your career, and it's also your public image. You're going to be feeling more, outgoing during this time. And then the new moon is telling you to set intentions about your career and your public image and your responsibilities, right? Your commitments to your responsibilities, finding harmony and balance within those things. And then with Venus being in your 10th house, you might receive more finances in your work or from your work. Okay. Now, for Aquarius and Aquarius rising, this is, I keep saying this, Mars in Gemini is happening in your fifth house. All right. So Mars is, activating many ideas and many avenues that you can take to the same destination. And it's happening in your fifth house. So it has a lot to do with your children, your inner child, your sense of joy, fun, your hobbies, maybe even creative projects. So Mars is the ruler of Aries and Scorpio. So this is like communication, right? Because it's in your third house, Aries is. So it might be small business, it's communication, it could be marketing, it could be social media. 10th house is where Scorpio resides in your chart. So that has a lot to do with, your career, your public image, and your influence. So your influence, you might be having a lot going on when it comes to your career. Maybe you're doing many different types of jobs, right? And that sounds like Gemini, right? Jack of all trades. Mars is there anyway. So, you're becoming a jack of all trades during this time with this energy over the next 7 months. And it might have a lot to do with creative projects and creative self-expression, like how you're expressing yourself. All right. So Venus is entering into Virgo, so this is in your eighth house. And with Venus being in your eighth house, you might be receiving more money from like your partner or joint finances, or receiving money from like a loan or a debt or something like that, that you didn't think that you were going to get. It might even be that you sold your house, so you're clearing out of debt because Venus rules your fourth house. And maybe your home is like at a long distance, or you could be looking to invest, getting a new contract, getting a loan to buy a home. That's also something. Now, the full moon happens at 17 degrees Pisces in your what is it, second house, right? Yeah, second house. So with the full moon in your second house, this is a culminating experience of your values, your material possessions, your relationships, maybe even your money. So, you might be releasing something of value, something that you possess with the full moon. Now, it could be, home, it could be any kind of thing, or you could just be letting go of a job, you know, because with the moon ruling your sixth house, that's where Cancer resides in your chart. So it could be your work. It also could be your health, your daily routines, just allowing something to be let go of in order to harness more peace within your daily routine, your daily life. Now, Mercury is going to be in your ninth house along with the sun, the new moon, and Venus. So ninth house focus for you, Aquarius. So it's all about being at a distance. It's about your beliefs. It's about your not only just your beliefs, but your path, your higher education, long distance travel. Mercury is going to be stationing retrograde in Libra. And so missed opportunities about, long distance trips, things of that nature, fun trips at that, making more money, maybe even becoming a mentor or getting in a mentorship program. You might pick up a mentor during this time, and it dips back into your eighth house, where you receive like information, tying up loose ends about, joint partnerships and things like that. Finances with the partner as well, debt and karma, stuff like that. So then the sun being in also your ninth house in Libra, it's the autumn equinox. So your focus is on, long distance, it's your path, it's your expression in that way of like achieving what it is that you're destined to do, that kind of energy. You might be focused on traveling a lot during this time. The new moon is inviting you to set intentions about, your travels, about your work, your commitments to these things, as well as making money or joining your finances. And, it could be traveling, it could be education also. Venus is entering into Libra, so this is also your ninth house, and this is a lot to do with, investing in these things, right? So you could just definitely just be going on a fun trip, traveling more, experiencing more life in that way. Now, last but not least, we have Pisces and Pisces rising, and Mars is going to be transiting through your fourth house in Gemini. So with Mars being in your fourth house is really activating your home and family life, right? So you might have a busy home and family life. You might be looking at the many opportunities and many different ideas that are coming in about your home. The things that are going on within the home, the communication in the home just might be really busy and really buzzy, like lots of communication going on at home. Now, with Mars being in your fourth house, it could be like a review of like contractual things with the home, documents, things like that with Mars and Gemini, because Gemini rules documents. And so, Mars is the ruler of Aries and Scorpio, so that's your second and your ninth house. So it could be values. It could be the value of your home, technically. It could also be, you're looking to implement certain things, certain beliefs in the home that are in alignment to your values, right? Venus enters into Virgo. And so this is your seventh house. And so with Venus being in your seventh house, this is like your partnership sector. So this could indicate marriage. This could be an elevation where you are either taking a relationship to the next level, or you're just finding yourself bonding in a relationship, communicating more. Venus rules your third house. Communication also rules your eighth house, which is Libra. So that's intimacy, joint finances. So you could be finding out of about a legal situation, getting information about that, about a debt, maybe some money coming back in for you in that way, something like that, or maybe a debt being cleared, or you having to pay out a debt. So the full moon happens at 17 degrees in Pisces in your first house. So this moon is directly affecting you. So this is your releasing of things that no longer serve you, how you show up. You might be, having a culminating experience about who it is that you are, right? The moon is the ruler of your fifth house. So that's Cancer. So it has a lot to do with how you show up with your children, how you are expressing yourself with your children as well. Now, Mercury is going to station retrograde in Libra in your eighth house. The sun enters into your eighth house. The new moon enters into your the new moon happens in your eighth house, and Venus enters in your eighth house, all in Libra. So very eighth house focus for you. Mercury is going to be retrograde in your eighth house, right? So it's stationed retrograde in Libra, and it's going to be opposing Jupiter. So it might be bringing around some missed opportunities. Jupiter's in your second house in Aries. And so missed opportunities from your partner to make more money. So like your partner might be getting a job, or, making more money. You might be having new ways of making more money, to receive more money from other people, might be receiving more resources from outside of yourself, could be government kind of funded things also. That's eighth house. Now, Mercury rules Gemini and it rules Virgo. So that's your fourth house and your seventh house. So it's like commitments to the home and family, things like that. And then it dips back into Virgo, which is your seventh house. So yeah, it's like, maybe a commitment that has to come back around or something like that. Now, the sun is going to be here. So your focus is on your eighth house. So, restructuring your money, finance is going to be a thing for you, your joint finances, your resources, clearing out debt and things like that. The new moon is also here. So it's inviting you to set intentions about this. So a financial advisor might also be beneficial for you as well. Also, there might be some new things happening over the next 6 months, from this new moon being in Libra, in your eighth house. It might be some new things experiencing or coming up over the next 6 months when it comes to like your children, right? The moon rules your fifth house. So it has a lot to do with like your children, maybe even your resources that you provide to your children, the things that you show up daily doing for your children, right? That is also possible. Now, Venus is also here in your eighth house. So this could be an invitation, or really where your partner's making more money, or you're receiving more money from government, somehow, like maybe you're getting more money from school or from a loan, or maybe even from a job or something like that. So that is it. Now, that is all that I have for the month of September. So I hope this has been beneficial and helpful for you all. I look forward to connecting with everyone in the month of October. Stay tuned, because I will be posting videos throughout the rest of the month. Really quick, short videos will be posted, whether they're like from TikTok or however, but I'll be posting quick updates for the transits that happen, whether they're daily transits or, any of the transits that I've already mentioned. I might go deeper into detail with them. So keep watch of that. Also, if you are looking to join the membership, if you are looking to purchase the Reiki infused Chiron candles, or receive a Reiki session and whatnot. So description box is where you can find all of that. All right, so I hope y'all have a wonderful month of September. It does not look too chaotic for us. Look like we're going to be revisiting a lot of missed opportunities with Mercury being retrograde, and there might be some intense things that are going on, but it's not going to be too chaotic. All right, so have a wonderful, wonderful month ahead, and happy harvest season to you all in the autumn equinox.